What is going on, guys? Welcome back to another video. So if you've been watching the series so far, you'll know that I'm in a 2008 Fiat Punto 1.2, and basically this car was my granddad's. He gave it to my sister when she passed her test. She's not long past her test. Now the car had been sitting for best part of 3 years, so I've done all of the mechanical work. I've got the car to what I think should be ready for the MOT. Now the only thing left to really do is to give the whole car a good, nice clean. Now this video is just going to be on the engine bay. I'm not like a professional detailer or anything like that. I'm just, I've just cleaned my own cars in the past, and I'm not really going to be using, any high-tech equipment or expensive like shampoos or anything like that. So just bear with me. Hopefully you guys can learn a thing or two, and yeah, let's just get right into it now. So okay then, so this is what the engine bay looks like now. It has never been clean since new. So as you can see, there's leaves, there is cobwebs, there is dust and dirt and oil everywhere. As you can see, obviously, this aluminium's starting to corrode. I'm not too bothered about that, but yeah, generally looks okay. Not too much rust and things under here, but yeah, it's probably seen better days. Very oily, greasy, and just could benefit from a nice clean, to be honest. Now the only things I'm actually going to be using in this video to clean the engine bay is a brush, some carrier bags, a spray bottle with some dish soap in, and a pressure washer, a jet wash. Okay, now for safety, I've actually just went ahead and disconnected the battery. That's going to prevent us from shorting anything out while we're using the pressure washer. Now actually, a lot of people think it's a good idea to keep the engine running while you're washing the engine bay. I guess it's going to help evaporate the water a lot quicker and whatever. I don't think that's a good idea, because let's just say, for example, you get some water in the intake that goes then into the throttle body and can potentially hydro lock your engine. It's not worth it, honestly. Just have your engine off. Doesn't matter if it's hot or cold, but just like I've done, disconnect your battery, and then you can't short anything, at least while you're cleaning it. Obviously after, if you haven't dried something properly and then you go to start it up, you could potentially short something. But now you're probably wondering, what are these plastic bags for? What are the carrier bags for? Now these are actually to wrap the areas that we don't want to get any water on. Now the battery is obviously covered, so it don't matter if we get a little bit of water on that. Now here is the ECU. We do not want to get water on that, because if you do, then it's going to cause a huge problem. Now I was actually looking for the mass sensor as well, the mass airflow sensor, but this car for whatever reason doesn't seem to have one. It's usually somewhere on the intake, but yeah, I've already taken the whole airbox apart and I can't seem to see one, so maybe it doesn't have one on this engine, I don't know. But that's something you also want to cover up as well. But apart from that, everything's pretty okay. I guess you don't really want to get any water in the injector wells or anything like that, but we're not going to be going too crazy. Yeah, most of these sensors and things are that is actually the map sensor into the intake manifold there. That's they're pretty well waterproof, so you don't really got to worry too much. I'll just make sure the reservoirs and things are done up tightly, which they are, so we're pretty much good to go. Okay, so I've used 2 bags, one for the ECU and the other is actually for the alternator, which is underneath the aircon pump, which is just down there, so we don't want to get water on the alternator as well, actually. Okay, so I'm going to start by just moving some of this debris like these leaves and things like that, because there's no point blowing them around the engine with the jet wash. So I'm just gonna, if there's anything else like cobwebs and things, I'm gonna try and remove them as best as possible. And that's pretty much most of the loose stuff I can see. Oh, I want to lose that. Now I've got my washing up liquid. Obviously you can use any kind of degreaser. It's all pretty much the same stuff. I'm just going to spray this all over the engine bay and let it soak in to get, you know, to try and lift some of that dirt and that grease off. Okay, so we've gave everything a good soak in with the dish soap, aka the degreaser, and just going to leave everything as it is for a few minutes. Now then, what I'm going to start doing is the areas which are the dirtiest with the most grease and oil on and whatever, I'm actually going to agitate that with this brush. So it's going to help make it easier when the jet wash comes in to wash all the dirt off. Okay then, so with most of the dirt and grease and oil agitated, so it's been sat for about 5 to 10 minutes now, and I'm pretty confident that the majority of the dirt should have lifted by now. Now we could spend like absolutely hours to, you know, get this engine bay like perfect, but you know, we're not really going for perfection. It's an engine bay. I'm just giving it the first clean that it's probably ever had since it came out of the factory. So yeah, we'll see what it looks like after I've washed all this greasy soap off. Okay, so after washing everything off, this is what we're looking like at the moment. As you can see, underneath the bonnet's looking very clean. Everything's just looking 10 times better already before I've even dried it. Okay then, so I'm actually happy with the cleaning part of this engine clean done. Now I'm actually just going to go ahead and give it a dry with a microfiber cloth, and I'm going to leave it a good while before I start to you know, put the battery terminals back on, and then before I start it up, because that gives everything a chance to dry out and prevents, you know, from shorting any electrical components out. So yeah, let's grab the microfiber cloth and get everything a good dry down. And at this point you can go ahead and obviously remove your plastic bags. Okay, so I'm actually happy with how dry everything is right now. I'm not going to go ahead and attempt to dry it even more. But as you can see, especially like on the airbox, you can see how it's dried like a dull kind of colour. You know, before when it was wet it was like more shiny. Now you could go ahead and use something like a polisher, or like, you know, like a black shine product. Now I'm not going to go ahead and do that. Like I said, we're not going for perfection, we're just going for a lot better than it was before. As you can see, you know, everything's looking nice and clean now. It's a much nicer area to be in, and I think I've generally done a pretty good job. Okay then guys, so I'm happy with how the engine bay turned out. It's actually turned out better than what I thought it was going to be. Obviously we could spend like I said, we could spend hours on it, like polishing everything up, you know, using like a black shine product, like to really, you know, make the dull black plastics like really shine. But you know, it's an engine bay. It's like my sister's car that she's going to be using daily. It's not a show car. I'm not really that fussed, but I just thought I'd give the engine bay a clean, because you know, it's nice that when you know, lift up the bonnet to say fill your screen wash up, check your oil or whatever, to not like get your hand like covered in oil. It's just nice to have a nice clean looking engine bay. So that's just what I do. You know, I tend to wash my own engine bay every like 2 to 3 washes of my car that I do. Like honestly, that took me what, 20 minutes, half an hour. It's very easy to do, and it just makes a whole better experience whenever you're lifting your bonnet up, or your hood if you're watching this and you're in America. So yeah, that's why I decided to do it this time. Okay then, so I'm actually going to end this video here. I know it's been a shorter one, but I want to keep in separate videos the engine bay, then I'm going to have the exterior of the car in a separate video, and then also the interior of the car in a separate video, because I feel like because of the state that they're both in, they deserve their own video. And yeah, I'm gonna wrap this video up now, so I hope you guys have enjoyed it. Please give it a like, leave a comment down below, subscribe if you haven't already, and I will see you in that next video. Peace!